Welcome to the Dirt Broadcast, digging to the bottom of every situation to get to the truth. Here's your host, Jason Mills.
Sorry about that, folks. I don't know what the problem was, but I guess it said it was a Facebook problem, and so hopefully it's fixed. YouTube and Rumble was fine, but Facebook wasn't. So, anyways, hopefully it's fixed. But anyways, remember, like, share, comment. Like I said, I hope you came back. If you were already here, I appreciate it. It throws me off a little bit, but like I said, remember, like, share, comment. Got anything you want to discuss tonight? Feel free to type it in the comments there, and we will see what we can do about discussing it. Yesterday was my birthday. So everybody out there, I think there was 100 almost more or more people that told me happy birthday. So I wanted to say thank you for that. I do appreciate it, and glad to know people are thinking about me. All right, I don't know what where Facebook cut off before or whatever, but I wanted to reiterate what I was saying, which is the happenings with the sheriff's department and the jail and the safety there, and all that kind of stuff. That's just nonsense that's going on. People are in jail for whatever reason. They don't deserve to be beat up and nobody coming to break up a fight or anything like that. And if it progresses, things could get worse, and then we might have, people seriously getting hurt and that kind of thing. We don't want that. And so I don't know what the answer is. We as county taxpayers forked over $100,000 nearly for a new camera system, and that was supposed to help with the situation, and obviously it's not. But we need more leadership. We need better leadership. We need some folks that are actually going to do their jobs there in the jail and that kind of thing. So I guess unfortunately, we might have to wait till the next election to maybe change some things. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know when some folks are going to be held accountable for the things going on. I mean, it seems like every week, every other week, Union County Sheriff's Department is on the news for something. I know for a while there, it was almost every day Union County was on the news. As far as Sheriff's Department goes, for something. But, like I said, until we can get some better folks in there, unfortunately, it's just going to continue. One of the other things I want to discuss is like I said, on the other podcast earlier before it got shut off on Facebook, lots of things going on in my life, which is why I've not been doing a podcast. Like I said, in July, there was only that one meeting, so I didn't really have a whole lot to cover there other than just talking about, other things, which I could have done. But just some of the things that I've been dealing with. I'm taking care of my mother's estate and trying to handle getting her bills paid and all those kinds of things, plus dealing with nonsense from family members and, going to court over stupid stuff with that. And then some other personal things going on. And, yeah, just lots of things going on. Life happened. And so I hadn't been able to do a podcast in a little while, so I do apologize. Hopefully, as of now, we can get back on a routine and that kind of thing. And I keep y'all up to date on what's going on in Union County. My viewers keep going down on Facebook. And so I'm just wondering if Facebook is still having a problem. But hopefully not. Either way, like I said, feel free to ask any question or anything like that you might have tonight. And we are going to cover last night's county commission meeting. And we will talk about whatever else you want to talk about. And like I said, we won't talk about Cracker Barrel and we won't talk about Taylor Swift. I know some of y'all probably like Taylor Swift, but I don't know what the hype is, and that's just my opinion. Feel free to make yours. But anyways, so what's been going on in Union County? Well, this coming weekend is Thunder in the Park, minus the thunder. Not knocking anything about going, anything like that, but just keep in mind that as you go, there's no car show this year. There's no fireworks this year. And I think it's shortened hours. Maybe not, but whatever. You're going to have a drone show. Drone shows are beautiful. I'm not knocking that, but you can't have too much thunder in the park without the fireworks, and that's kind of was the idea of Thunder in the Park. And but you can look at it two ways. You won't have the fireworks smoke and all that stuff. You won't have the scaring of the animals and all that kind of thing with the loud booms and all that stuff from the fireworks. But on the flip side of that, some people liked it. Some people wanted to see the fireworks. So it's just a matter of opinion. Go out, have a good time. The biggest thing is have fun. Have fun with your family and your friends, and I'm sure there's going to be some vendors there, and eat lots of food and enjoy the drone show. It's probably going to be, like I said, very beautiful and that kind of thing. It's just not what people are used to as far as Thunder in the Park goes. So I believe there's supposed to be a band, I think, starting at 5 or 7 or something on the stage at the farmers market. And the drone show is going to start at 9, is my understanding. So if you don't have anything else to do, plan to attend. I also know that it's football time in Tennessee, and I'm looking forward to that. I am a UT fan, and I love watching a football game. So, hey, you don't like Thunder in the Park, and you just watch some football games. But yeah. Anyways, I digress. Just checking over here. It's acting funny again. There it goes. Now we're cooking with gas, I hope. Facebook must be having some problems, folks. But anyways, so let's talk about last night's county commission meeting. Last night's county commission meeting, you did have several commissioners and the mayor missing or absent. You also Mayor Bailey was absent. You also had Angela Connor Murphy absent, Linda Effler was absent, and Gerald Simmons was absent. So keep that in mind as we go through what was voted on and that kind of thing. It was kind of an okay meeting. Sidney Jesse was the moderator, I guess you would call him. He took Mayor Bailey's place, and that kind of thing. Before we get into the commission meeting, let's start something else I want to discuss. Apparently, a certain reporter for the local paper is trying to start junk again with some of the constables. Like, I've heard about this, and I'm like, why can't you just leave well enough alone? You've already, pushed and got them abolished because your hit pieces that you kept, writing on them, and you had no good support for our elected law enforcement or anything like that. All you want to do is talk bad about them, especially certain one. I've not seen an article about some of these other constables that ran for election and didn't do anything. Still haven't done anything. And this far into their term and haven't done anything. But you want to just keep going after certain ones that are out there doing their job. Leave them alone. They've got less than a year now of their term. And unless, like I said, on previous podcasts, unless we get it fixed, and I do have a state representative that has agreed that he's going to try to help us with that situation. But until January, this is where we're at, right? So this local reporter wants to continue to harass this constable. And let me tell you, whether you like the constables or you don't like the constables, you have to give Constable Dennis, John Dennis, the credit that he deserves, because he does get out there and he does work and he does do a good job. And whether you were talking about that accident, that was not his fault. Blame that on him, whatever you want to do. Either way, he does his job. He gets out there, he works hard. And matter of fact, last Thursday, I had an occasion to talk to some deputies, and I'm not going to name any names, but one of these deputies actually asked me, can you help get the constable saved? And I said, I'm working on it. And that kind of thing. And they said, John is a great help to the sheriff's department, especially over there in Sharps Chapel. You've got deputies out here that are thanking him for helping out, for doing his job and being there to help them and to do all these things. Like I said, whether you like him or you don't, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about him actually doing his job. And he does. And for no money, let me remind you that he doesn't get paid for it. And he pays for his training, and he pays for all his equipment and his vehicle and the gas and everything. John Dennis doesn't get paid by the county, the state, or anybody for, being a constable. And like I said, these deputies are supportive of Constable Dennis and that kind of thing. And like I said, asked me if I could help try to save that office. And like I said, I said I was working on it. And, to have deputies come up and ask me that question just goes to show how much that constables are doing a good job, at least the ones that are working, and John Dennis being one of them. And that made me feel good. That they're recognizing that Constable Dennis is out there working. It made me feel like I'm doing the right thing by trying to save the office of constable, and I'm not trying to take credit myself or anything like that. I'm just saying, when you've got deputies coming up and talking about how good of a job that John Dennis is doing, and how much he's helping the sheriff's department and all these things, that just goes to show that having even just one more officer on the streets is helping Union County be a safer place. And there's other constables out there, some that do their job, some that don't. Majority of them don't. I don't know why they ran, other than just having the title. But again, I've talked about on previous podcasts, there's one that was specifically put in there as a setup, as being a county employee and that kind of thing. But, we won't talk about that tonight either. But I just want to point out the fact that there are sheriff's deputies out there that are very appreciative, as the citizens of Union County are very appreciative of what Constable Dennis gets out there and does and does a good job and that kind of thing. So for all you constable supporters out there and all you John Dennis supporters out there, that should make y'all feel good. And Constable Dennis, if you're watching this podcast, that should make you feel good knowing that there's sheriff's deputies that are actually out there that have your back and are very supportive, and that kind of thing. So, well, it says I've got a comment, but my comments aren't pulling up. I don't know. It's being funny today. Anyways, so let's go on to the county commission meeting from last night. Like I said, Mayor wasn't there, Angela Connor Murphy wasn't there, Linda Effler wasn't there, and Gerald Simmons was not in attendance last night. You go through the regular motions, the pledge and the prayer and the public comments. There wasn't any approving of the minutes from the other meetings, and there was a mayor's report because the mayor wasn't there. Dwight Dyer was approved to be the county planner for the next year again. The middle school construction updates, they are still on track to open next summer. One of the other things of note is that they have to widen for the school buses and such, Beeler Hollow and Pine Street. And so they're in negotiations with property owners through there on how to pay them or compensate them for taking some of their land to widen the roads. Again, that's Beeler Hollow and Pine Street over there. Other than that, they're moving along, and like I said, it's said to still be on track to open next summer. All right, then we get to the budget committee. Again, Angela Connor Murphy wasn't there, so there wasn't a whole lot to discuss as far as the budget committee goes. There is a salary meeting on the 16th at 5:15. They're talking about moving the time a little bit, but they're going to discuss on there's some concerns about raises and the pay scale and all these kinds of things. So part of the salary meeting is going to talk about that, I suppose, and that kind of thing. Then Missy Brown gave her finance report. The comptroller did the state of Tennessee did approve the budget, and they also said I got a comment, but it's not here. They also paid $10,000 to the chamber for the drone show that's coming up this weekend. So I hope you plan to attend. I hate that I can't see comments. It's driving me nuts. Sorry, folks. I'm just trying to see what the comment might have been. Anyways, I hope y'all are on here on this podcast. If you want to, since I can't see your comments for some reason, if you want to just send it on Messenger, you can do that. If you're on Facebook, like I said, I don't know what's going on with Facebook, but it's not showing me your messages. So I will pull up Messenger on here. Just in case you want to send a message, or well, I don't know. Sorry about that. I hate when things don't work correctly. All right, let's go back here. $10,000 was paid to the chamber for the drone show. That's not the total cost of the drone show. That's just what the county donated to the chamber to have the drone show. Let's see. What else did we talk about last night? There was a discussion about surplus. There's lots of things on surplus going to be on Gov Deals. If you're interested in that, there's some sheriff's department vehicles and supposedly lots more, including a popcorn machine, which some of the county commissioners were kind of making jokes about. That surely one of the other departments in the county could, use a popcorn machine. But if you want a popcorn machine, it's going to be on Gov Deals. So that those things did pass to get put on Gov Deals. So we also had a discussion after Missy Brown on the new jail, and so they're planning on a meeting on September the 9th, another workshop at 7 p.m. Again, that's September the 9th at 7 p.m. That'll be another workshop. Some of the things that the architect has noted is that the borings that they did show that property, or at least the 10, 12 acres that they've done so far, is going to be a good site for. Hey, there's a comment. Hey, Miss Dyke, how are you? My comments are finally showing up. It does show that it's going to be a good site. Utilities will have to be brought to the property on quite a big way. There's going to be quite a bit of dirt that's got to be moved. There's some rock on the property, but it's within the acceptable amount. They haven't found any caves or sinkholes, but they'll find out more about the caves or sinkholes when they do the sonar. And the sonar is going to cost another $3,500 of our tax money. What they did the borings on so far has been the northern 2 acres, or 12 acres, the northern 12 acres, at a cost of $207,000. And to do the borings for the other 10 acres, it's going to cost $203,500, and that's going to get them 15 more borings on those 10 acres. And we'll see what they say about that property. Again, this is going to be the Hubs property that they're looking at for the new jail. So all that went through without too much of a hitch or a discussion. And then Greg Dyer made a comment about the construction committee needs to start meeting again. That they're kind of getting behind, and they've got all these construction projects, and they need to get them figured out and get bids on and all this other stuff. That started a little bit of a heated discussion between a few folks, but so Greg Dyer made a motion. The current amount of money that is set aside for the Big Ridge and Speedwell Community Center is $191,000. That's for each one. Gets $191,000. Greg Dyer made a motion and wants to add $9,000 to those to make them $200,000 apiece. Plus, he wants to add another $282,000 more for the chapel's new EMS station, and even more money than that. But he's hoping that he can only use $282,000, and then maybe use some of the other money on some other stuff. The current estimate for they think they can do the community centers of Big Ridge and Speedwell for $200,000. The concern comes in with the EMS station. The estimate that the grant writers estimated for the Sharps Chapel EMS station was $750,000, and for the one that will be inside city limits, right behind the courthouse, where the current EMS is estimated to be $1.2 million. Greg Dyer says he thinks it can be cheaper than that, but he doesn't know for sure. But that's why he made this motion to add $9,000 to each of the community centers and another $282,000 more for the EMS station and the chapel. He made that motion. He actually thinks that the EMS station and the chapel will actually cost $480,000, and not $750,000. But he wants to make sure there's a cushion. So he made a motion to move all this money and Eddie Simpson seconded the motion. That motion did fail. So that money will not be moved. One of the folks that was against moving that money was Ashley Mike, and she questioned, why would we move money ahead of time? Why won't we just wait and move money when we need it? Which made sense to me. Perhaps maybe we were just trying to get as much money as we can for these projects, and you know, if we had to use more, we could. But that motion did fail. Those commissioners that voted yes to spend your hard-earned tax money on additionally were Mike Bowles, Bill Cox, Greg Dyer, Don Flatford, and Eddie Simpson. Seems like same folks like spending our money. Every time that something comes up that money is needed, or our tax money is needed to be spent, some of these same names pop up every time. So then one of the biggest arguments of the night shouldn't have been an argument at all. And it made no sense to me. But Miss Sandra Edmondson, who, if you don't know, is the clerk and master in Union County, and she had an employee leave, and so she hired a new employee, and this new employee comes with 20 years of experience from commercial bank, and is the city of Luttrell's city recorder, and just has all this experience. And so she didn't have to, but as a just trying to be an open book, and just trying to do the right thing, or what she thought was the right thing, was to come before commission and say, hey, I had this employee that was making $15.92. So that money is already in my budget. I hired this new employee with, like I said, 20 years of banking experience and all this other experience. So since I already have the $15.92 in my budget, I'm going to pay this person $15.92. It's no new money to the taxpayer. It's not a raise. It's not anything. It's already in her budget. It's already her money in her department, and in that office. So she didn't even need to come to commission and ask. It's already in her budget, which is part of why they want to have this discussion in the salary meeting on the 16th at 5:15, because some of the commissioners don't think that it's right that all these other departments, and Miss Edmondson did point out to the fact that other departments are hiring people in and not matching the pay scale where it should be, because some of these commissioners are arguing that anybody is supposed to start at $15. That's where the pay scale starts, at $15. No matter what, everybody that's hired should start at $15. Well, then the argument comes in, well, the sheriff's department hires detectives at this amount of money, and it's not $15, and this department, hired somebody and paid them this amount. So bottom line is, folks, the way it works in Tennessee is an elected official or what have you that is over an office, like Pam Ayler or whatever, can pay their folks what they want to pay if it's in their budget. Who approves their budget? County Commission approves their budget. The pay scale is the pay scale. That's what the argument is about. This was a non-issue. It's not like she was trying to give somebody a raise. It's not like she was trying to get more money from commission. It was already in her budget. It is already in her budget. And obviously, somebody with 20 years experience plus is probably worth 92 more cents an hour than the $15 on the pay scale. But some of the commissioners didn't like it. And like I said, she didn't even have to be there, but she was doing it to try to do the right thing. So commission votes on to give her the approval to pay this person what she was already paying the person that this person is replacing, $15.92 an hour. So the vote was done and it failed. And it blew my mind that commission, after spending all this money on all these borings, again, the borings cost for the ones they've already done on 12 acres, $207,000. And then they're going to pay for the other 10 acres to do the borings, another $203,000 or $203,500 for the other 10 acres. So after we just went along with that, after we went along with the fact that there was a contract that was approved at $22 an hour, even though it was part-time. That was the argument. It's just part-time. So $22 is okay because we're just paying it part-time. That got approved. But Miss Edmondson's here. No more money. No extra money. Just paying a salary that she's already paying in her department for a person that left and hiring a new person at the same amount, $15.92. That got voted down. Blew my mind. Pissed me off, actually. But that did fail. And the ones that voted against it was Mike Bowles, Greg Dyer, Don Flatford, Ashley Mike, Kenny Moore, Cheryl Walker, and Eddie Simpson abstained. After they go and spend all of our tax money on all this other stuff, won't give her the okay to pay a person what she's already paying. It blows my mind, folks. I just don't understand. And so that got into a heated debate. Like I said, Miss Edmondson talked about how these other departments are hiring people and paying them more and not going by the pay scale. And she even brought up the TCA code that said that she could pay what she wants with her budget. After it's approved, it's her money to do what she wants with it, within reason, of course. But again, she didn't even have to come to county commission and ask for permission to do that. But she did it because she felt it was the right thing to do. So then, after, the TCA code and some disagreements and some back and forth between this person and that person, Ashley Mike was, well, I'm just tired of every department coming in here, every meeting and asking for more money and blah, blah, blah. Well, every year at budget time, you have all these charity organizations, nonprofits come in and beg for money, and you give it to them. What was it? made an agreement that they were going to spend no more than $100,000 on charities and voted on it and passed it. And then the very next thing they did was to vote on giving a charity even more money than what they just set their limit on. They made a limit, $100,000. That's what we're going to do. And then the very next thing they voted on in that meeting was to give that whatever charity it was, I don't even remember at this point, but whatever charity it was, more money. Make it make sense, folks. I do not understand. But here we are with an official that wants to pay $15.92 to a employee, a new employee, that, again, 20 plus years of experience, plus, just make it make sense. It was already in her budget. She was already paying this salary, and nothing's changing. Not asking for any more money, nothing. Just coming to commission saying, hey, I lost an employee, I replaced the employee, same salary. Commission said, nope, you can't do that. We got to have control. You can't do that because of the pay scale. That, again, many other officials have not gone by, hired people more than that, hired people. Oh, this person has 30 years, 20 years of experience, so I want to start them out at a higher rate. That was okay, but for whatever reason, when Miss Edmondson comes up, it's a problem. Well, there was like I said, a heated debate for a little bit. That was probably the longest part of the whole county commission meeting last night, was this discussion. And so I guess some folks started waking up. Some of the folks that voted against this, they're like, well, it is kind of making sense that she could do it whether she was here or not. So maybe we should let her. And so the only way they could re-vote on it is if somebody that voted no brought it back to a vote, which they did. So they call it a motion to reconsider. Greg Dyer, who was originally a no vote, brought it up. Eddie Simpson, who was an abstained vote, agreed or did the second. To vote to allow her to pay this new employee this $15.92. Well, guess what, folks? It failed a second time. Again, Mike Bowles, Dawn Flatford, Ashley Mike, Kenny Moore, and Cheryl Walker all voted against letting her spend this $15.92 on this employee that has the experience, no new money, no more tax money out of your pocket, no nothing. But yet, again, they want to control what the other offices are doing. The ones that voted yes to let her give the money was Greg Dyer, Larry Lay, R.L. Jones, Bill Cox, Danny Cook, Greg Beeler. But it just does not make sense. Why they wouldn't let her do this? And again, to argue about it, it's just asinine. It blows my mind that again, they would spend all this money on all this other stuff, but yet wouldn't let an office holder pay somebody what they were already paying. She did it. She came to county commission as a courtesy, saying, "Hey, this is what I'm doing." She didn't have to. There's no law that said she had to. There's no law, actually, that says that she has to go by this pay scale. The only reason she has to go by the pay scale is because county commission approved the pay scale in 23, but yet has not made any other office, any other person accountable to this pay scale. They've just gone along with every time that somebody's hired somebody new and paid them whatever they want. Until now, until Miss Sandra Edmondson comes up and tries to do this. Again, makes no sense to me. And then the argument was, well, it's in her budget this time. Doesn't mean next year's budget that she'll have that money. Well, she'll do her budget next year. She's a smart woman. I'm sure she'll do her budget and cover this 92 cents an hour in her budget next year. I mean, it's to think somebody was going to be that stupid and not think about it next year and say, "Oh, well, I guess we've got to lower her back down to $15 because that money's not in our budget this year." Come on. Really? But they did make that argument last night. I believe it was Ashley Mike that made the argument. I could be wrong on the specific person, but I'm pretty sure it was. Just because it's in her budget this year doesn't mean it will be next year. She'll know what her salary is. She'll know what she needs. And guess what? All county employees get a cost of living increase built in to the pay scale anyway. So there's going to be an increase either way next year. Like I said, Miss Edmondson's a pretty smart woman. I'm pretty sure when she does her budget next year, she'll be able to figure out, hey, this is what we have to cover our payroll. Folks, I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. And I thought it last night, and I wasn't going to say anything about it, but and I've followed county commission for a while now. I've not always attended the meetings and all this kind of stuff like I do now, but I've been around quite a bit. Even before I got involved in politics or anything else, I still followed county commission and that kind of thing. But I'm going to say this. This is just my opinion. Feel free to make it yours. But this commission that we currently have is the worst commission, the dumbest commission, the lack of common sense commission, the most asinine commission. Their focus is always wrong. It's not on the citizens of Union County. It's focused on how many buildings can we build? How many things can we put our names on? There's so much crap that goes on with our county commission. It just seems worse than it ever has before with this commission. I'm not saying they're all dumb or anything like that. So don't get twisted. When I say dumb commission, I mean as the body, not people. But some of them make me just want to pull my hair out. And I'm losing it anyway. But I don't understand. You want... Again, I'll repeat it again. You spend all this money on all this stuff, but when a office holder has the money in her budget already, you tell her no. I just don't understand. And you say you're looking out for your constituents, but you're not. You're trying to make yourself feel powerful because you think you have the power over another office holder. But you don't, because Tennessee law says that this office holder can do it anyway. They don't need your permission. I don't understand. And I get, like I said, the whole pay scale thing, and it's trying to control salaries and whatever, but you're not holding everybody accountable. You're picking and choosing, and that ain't right. And matter of fact, if memory serves me correctly, Pam Ayler's office, when whatever money she has left in her budget at the end of the year, I believe that she gives that money out as bonuses to her employees. Well, I guess county commission, because you don't want to pay 92 cents an hour, you better be figuring out some way to stop that. If you're so worried about controlling this money, like I said, it makes no sense to me. There's my comments are Mr. Wynn. I think, if I had to guess, and this is just me thinking, it's not for sure, I think she's going to do it anyway. If I was her, I would do it anyway. Obviously, this employee with all this experience is worth it. It's not like it was just somebody off the street that they just hired that had no experience. I could see the argument maybe then of why we should start them at the $15. But like I said, 20 plus years of experience, also the city recorder for the city of Luttrell, 92 cents. Pay the woman. Obviously, she's worth it. Like I said, Miss Edmondson is a pretty smart woman. I think she would be able to say, hey, yeah, I hired this person and we got a good one. She's got plenty of experience. I think she could tell that when she hired this person. And I'm pretty sure she can make the argument why that 92 cents is going to be well used. It just, like I said, it makes no sense to me. And I said it before. Look at all the projects that we have going on right now. I wrote them down somewhere on one of the past podcasts. But we've got, there we are. We got EMS in the chapel. We got EMS in the city of Manorville. We got community center in Big Ridge and Speedwell. We got the new middle school. We got the parking lot across from the courthouse, which is completed. We got the new jail, which is also going to have a new court, which is also going to have the clerk's office moved down there. We got the convenience center that is talked about in Big Ridge and Speedwell. We've got the farmers market down there, and the stage and all that going on around there. We've got all these things going on, and the new boat launches at Blue Mud that they're supposed to be doing, and all this stuff. They obviously don't have a problem spending our tax money, but want to argue over 92 cents an hour for an employee. I do not understand it. And again, I think if the mayor was there last night and this meeting kind of got moved along like a normal county commission meeting, I think we would have had a beginning discussion of our next property tax increase to pay for the jail. But like I said, he was not there. So what, like I said on a previous podcast, what have we had in this current and the last county commission? We've had 3 property tax increases. We've got 2 wheel taxes. They're talking about doing this camper tax, which I haven't heard them say anything about lately. And just tax. Plus, we already pay sales tax on everything we buy. I mean, how much more money do they want to rip us off for? But then when it's something that's actually reasonable, like 92 cents an hour for an employee, they want to argue about. Again, that is why, one of the reasons why I say this commission is one of the worst, if not the worst, commission that this county has ever had. They lack common sense. They lack a vision for the future. A lot of the things they do are reactive instead of proactive. And, you think, and I know the courthouse is a busy place. And we just spent all this money on that new parking lot across the street. When the biggest court that we have normally, criminal court is big, but it only comes like once a month or whenever. But so we have sessions court, which is probably the biggest court that we have, which is going to move to the new jail. And with that, Barbara Williams' office will also have to move to the new jail. So why did we have to spend all that money to build that parking lot across the street? Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. Whatever excuse you want to use to say that we needed that parking lot. We've done fine for years without that parking lot. And to me, it was a waste of money. Yeah, the county owned the property. They got a good deal on the property. Whatever. But to use the excuse we need the parking and pave that parking lot and do all of the, tear the building down and all this other stuff that we paid for, our tax money paid for it, just to move the court down the road. Again, plan for the future. Think about the future. Say, okay, well, if we're going to talk about building a new jail with a new courthouse, again, folks, it's a justice center. That's what a justice center is. They're just going to call it separate things because it doesn't sound so bad. But so they're going to build this new jail and the new courthouse or new courtroom with judges' chambers and, the court clerk has to have her office down there and all this other stuff. We could have saved that money and used it for something else that we actually need. Oh, look. Greg Dyer wants extra $9,000 for each one of the community centers, or he wants the money for the new EMS station. Look at there. You could have had all that money you spent on that parking lot for something like that. Instead, you wasted it, because what's going to happen once the new jail's built? Again, I know it's going to take a few years for that to happen, blah, blah, blah. You would have saved that money if you would have planned ahead. If you would have thought about the future instead of being reactive and say, oh, well, we bought this property, we better do something with it. It's easy for these commissioners to spend our money, your money. It's easy for them to say, okay, well, sheriff is in here and he needs two new patrol cars. Let's spend it. Oh, the sheriff was in here and he needs $100,000 for a new camera system. Let's spend it. Sheriff was in here and he needs all this money for this body scanner. Let's get it. Not doesn't even use it, but let's spend it because the taxpayers can afford it. And if they can't, or if we can't, because we can't, taxpayers cannot afford everything they're wanting to do. But county thinks we can. Commission thinks we can. And if they think that commission or the county can't afford it, guess what? They'll just raise your taxes some more. Whether it's a will tax or a property tax. Again, if you remember last county commission last county commission meeting and one of the last podcasts that I did, we talked about it. Let's see if it's on my notes here. There we go. Commissioner Jesse actually talked about raising taxes. You remember we had the discussion. He wanted to raise the taxes between 34.8 cents to 38.3 cents, which would make the new tax rate 2.25 to 2.28 to pay for this new jail. Has no problem, none, raising your taxes. They don't care what your burden is you already have on you. They didn't care about the burden you had on you already when they did the will tax for the new school. They don't care. As long as they get all these nice little shiny objects to put their name on, to make themselves feel good and feel like somebody, they don't care. You can't say that. Well, if they did, they wouldn't be doing all these projects all at once. And they would be figuring out other ways to pay for them other than raising our taxes. Again, folks, next year, the original will tax was supposed to expire, or sunset, as they call it. And that is to pay for the Paulette School. We are supposed to have a tax decrease next year if things went the way they were supposed to. The will tax was supposed to go away. But what did our commission do? Not only did they raise our will tax or add another will tax, they voted to not allow that will tax to sunset. So you will not get a lower will tax next year. A lot of people say all the time that once a tax is put in place, it never goes away. Well, this current commission is going to make sure that that tax does not go away. So the point to that is next year is an election year. Make sure you're paying attention. And let's get some good people in there. I'm begging you. Get some good people in there. Get some folks that are actually going to think about the citizens of this county instead of spend. I know, my household has a budget. I would love to spend. I'd have a new car all the time. I'd have a nice boat, and I'd have a big old RV. I wouldn't be storing it down around the corner. I ain't got nothing to do with them people. But anyways, I'd have a nice RV. I'd have my house remodeled all the time. All this stuff. I would love to be able to spend. But I can't. Because I've got to live within my means. I've got to have my budget and know what I can spend and know what I can't spend. And I know what bills I've got to pay. And I don't have a population of a county to say, oh, okay, I need some more money. Let's raise the taxes so I can get some more money so I can go buy a new house or build a new jail or buy an RV. All these kinds of things. See? You got to live within your means. It's nice to want things. It's nice to want a $1.2 million new EMS station. It's nice to want another $750,000 EMS station in the chapel. It's nice to want a nice new community center and convenience center. It's nice to want these things, but if we can't afford it, we should be doing them one at a time. If whatever we could afford, right? Whatever but without hurting the citizens of Union County. That's the way I look at it, folks. Our local government needs to live within its means and not off the backs of the taxpayers. Our population, again, and I've said it many times, it is roughly 26% under the poverty level. That's not even including the people that are at poverty level. It's under the poverty level, 26% of this county. So when they do all these tax raises, who are they actually hurting? You know, the ones that are got a lot of money, that own a bunch of businesses, or, you know, wineries or gas stations or whatever else around here. They don't worry about it so much. Actually, Cheryl Walker said one time in several of these budget and finance and county commission meetings, when she was trying to get the building permits raised, she actually stated they don't care what we raise their permit fee to or taxes to. If they're building $1 million house, they don't care what they've got to pay. They can afford to pay for $1 million house. They can afford to pay our taxes. Well, that's all well and good. But those of us that are barely getting by have to pay those same taxes that you're claiming these millionaires and well-to-do folks can afford to pay. So it's okay to raise all this stuff. Us poor folk can't afford the same taxes. You need to think about that. You need to think about the little people, not the big people. It's the way I look at it, folks. It's my opinion. Feel free to make it yours. With that, I appreciate everybody joining me tonight. Hopefully we'll be back again next Tuesday. Hopefully I can stay back on schedule. Like I said, I've got a lot of things going on in my life, but working through them. Like I said, I've not had these podcasts for a while. I've had, you know, I'm working on my making a living, and I'm also trying to take care of my mom's estate and going to court over all that nonsense that my family's putting me through, and just lots of other things going on. So bear with me, folks. I appreciate you joining me again tonight. Thank you. All you that told me happy birthday yesterday, greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. I think I thumbs up everybody. It's my way of saying thanks. But I do appreciate everybody. Remember to pray for me. I'll pray for you. And until next time, thank you and good night.
You just heard The Dirt, digging to the bottom of every situation to get the truth with your host, Jason Mills. Tune in next week at the same time for another Dirt broadcast.